First thing is I apologize for the audio. There's going to be rain in the background. Maybe that's pleasing, maybe it's not. Maybe you won't even hear it. I'm in an RV. I'm recording in an RV right now. And this is kind of my new space. I guess a lot has changed since the last time I posted. I don't even know when the last time I posted on this channel it was. Long story short, mental low. Lowest I've been, I think, in years. There's probably a lot of reasons for it. I've been thinking about it a lot. I've had the time and space to reflect on why. But at the end of the day, I don't really think dissecting it too much or further will do much for me. And it's weird because it's one of those things I think I've had enough experience with mental lows to recognize whether or not it's a very dire situation that requires ABC versus just writing it out. And I think for me, this is just one of those phases of where I have to write it out. I feel like it's one of those feedback loop situations where feeling mentally low, don't feel like doing anything, don't want to converse, don't want to put in the time and effort to connect and like do shit. So that just kind of perpetuates in this weird cycle that just goes into a downward spiral. And that's where I'm at. So all of that just to say I need to do something like this to just feel productive, I think, and to just, which begs the question though, is this all escapism and so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. What I was hoping though is to document kind of this space that I'm in, this headspace, because like I said, or maybe I haven't said, this is probably the most lifeless that I've felt in quite a long time. Like obviously I think there's little days and maybe like weeks, I want to say. No, I don't think it ever got past a week though. Like I would have low weeks and low days, but never like this length of time, which I think is probably about going on a month or so now. So I thought it would be useful to document this either for myself or for people watching, if anybody watches or listens. Not because I'm an expert in navigating this space. By no means am I. I just thought, hey, it offers another perspective, and what is community without sharing, right? So that's what we're all trying to do anyways. So hopefully this is the first of a couple of steps, I think, in the right direction. I think the best way to organize it is probably just starting with what I'm feeling, what I've tried to do, or like what I've done to take steps towards getting into a better headspace, and then what I intend to do. What I'm feeling is kind of defeated, I think. Very tired is the main word. Just very, just no strength, I think. Just very fatigued. That's probably the best way to put it, which is the same as thing as tired anyways. And that manifests itself in, I guess, not really engaging in conversations, feeling like I've heard everything, feeling like I've thought everything, and there's no excitement to my routine, which is probably due to the fact that I feel like doing nothing, right? I don't feel motivated to go out to places or try something new, or there's no craving to do stuff. Luckily, there's no like sadness. There's just a lack of emotion, right? It's just a lack of feeling, I think, and not a lot of joy, right? It's just feels like a desert of whatever. What I've tried to do though, because I knew it was kind of coming. So at the onset, I kept on telling myself that it's just temporary, and I still believe it's temporary. Like it will pass, type of thing. It's just kind of dragging on a little bit longer than I would like, and I don't really see anything changing too much. So the first thing I tried to do, I think, was just take assessment of like possible reasons, what has contributed to this headspace, this blah blah blah. And I think the list is endless, right? There's just so much stuff that is going on in the world, and then culturally from a kind of macro lens, you just see how people are communicating nowadays, what mediums they use, but also the vocab, the expressions, the way in which they approach conversation, and so on and so forth. All those things really they wears me down, I think, just knowing that is the norm, that's reality, and that's today. Those things, and then a bunch of little like personal things that were very heavy, and then you get your day-to-day just kind of wear and tear, right, of just being tired from working, blah blah blah. Add all of that, add in a couple of moves, blah blah, so on and so forth, and I feel like it was kind of pointless to go on further to try to identify, oh, okay, maybe these are the issues, blah, blah, because it's kind of like self-explanatory and it's evident that, oh, okay, it could be this, could be that, but the real answer is probably is a mixture and culmination of all of that. And a lot of those things I can't fix. So once I got to that point, it was just kind of like, okay, well, how do we go on from here? I think the first thing that a lot of people will say is try this, try that, like introduce more into your life. I'm questioning if that is the right way to go about things for me, because I'm finding myself to almost escape from reality and trying to really bite into that kind of like hedonistic mindset and outlook on life of, you know what, maybe life is just like, why overcomplicate it? Just focus on making money, spending money, and finding pleasure in that pursuit and that journey. And it's so simplistic if you just break it down that way, right? Just focus on making money, saving it, whatever, or spending it wisely, or just like investing it, blah, blah, and then completely buy into that cycle. And you come out the other end with a whole bunch of material possessions, and like, sure, people can say doesn't mean anything, it's not worth it, blah, blah, but at the end of the day, if that brings you happiness, it's such a simple like 1 + 1 = 2 situation. It's like, it's very tantalizing. It's very it's fascinatingly intriguing in that sense, I think, where it can be the easiest way to find pleasure in life. And I don't know if that narrative or that rhetoric of that's not lasting, that's not sustaining, like how long is your life for that to become meaningless? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe that's kind of where my head's at the end of the day. It's like all these things, morals, values, justice, they're so questionable, I think, at this point in society. Where it's like, is it actually meaningful? Have we, like, if almost part of me feels like we've perverted the notions of morality and good and all these things into these weird commodities that, I don't know, it just seems so fake and manufactured and corny as well. I don't know. Like, sure, you get a genuinely good person, because I'm sure they exist, but I see that and I don't feel anything anymore, because I feel like it's just another feel-good story that people are going to capitalize on or just make use, like, towards their own end. So, weird thoughts there. So that's where my head was going. I was like, okay, well, how about I just live a normal life, like, in the sense of go to work, finish work, work out, go to the gym, feel good that way. I tried that too, adding that. Although for a different reason, but whatever, we don't need to get into it. Do whatever, like watch videos, play games, kill your time essentially, and go to bed, and then do the same thing over and just spend on the weekend and so on and so forth. So I tried that, but that got old extremely quickly. After that, I've been feeling just empty, right? So maybe there is some truth to all those things and all those cliches about, you know, there's more to life than blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so there's that. After that, what did I do? Next, I turned to reading. I read 2 kind of like fantasy novels. Super fun, super engaging, lost myself in it. It was great. It reminded me of like when I was younger and just read so much. But they weren't particularly challenging books. They weren't really teaching me anything or getting me to think about anything. It was just a nice time killer escape, right? Same thing as watching videos, movies, or playing games, and so on and so forth. So I tried to read something from my university days that I would hope would get the juices going, make me think, challenge me, and so on and so forth. But then, I don't know, it takes a lot of dedication to read such a book, I think. Or maybe it was just bad timing, where I just didn't have it in me to like want to read, or I don't know. It's strange. After that, my head, I think, just went through the standard feel-good things, like, oh, maybe I should try journaling. Maybe I should try blah, 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 writing. And I tried writing. Then it just went very bleak very fast. Wasn't very helpful. Tried speaking to a friend, and it was okay. But then it's one of those things where it's like, you're trying to force out a conversation when you don't feel like conversing. So it's like, it's a waste of their time, waste of your time. If that's the goal, obviously, it was still very nice. But You know what I mean? There's that. So after all of that, I was thinking, okay, maybe I should go on hikes or find some pretty things and just appreciate nature, film some stuff. And then, I don't know, something about that too is like no locations really stood out to me. Again, you have to kind of force yourself to get out, right? To go to those places and find those places in order to appreciate it. So it wasn't going anywhere. Just felt stuck again and just cooped up. And that brings us to today, here, right now. And I spent most of the day, I don't know what it was actually, I think it was yesterday, just looking at this space around this RV. It's very nice. So I was thinking, there has to be potential here. What a waste. I do miss making these videos and just, I don't know, having something to work towards, to look forward to, with a lot of, I think, instant gratification along the way. That's the nice thing about this whole thing, is that if you really aren't motivated by the numbers of like YouTube and whatnot, then you still get that instant gratification with every video that you finish, right? Just the act, I think, of creating something and finishing it and some blah. That's what I was missing, I think, is probably moving forward. That's my next step, is just to get back on this train of creating stuff. For me, for people, it doesn't matter, just something. Honestly, this is probably the best I've felt in the last month, I think. It gives me something to do. And I think that's what I've been craving. I think it's just that feeling of, oh, I'm off work. Now I have nothing to do. And that's such a sad feeling. But yeah, just talking out loud, I think, to myself, to this camera thing, is so therapeutic in some odd way. So now what I'm trying to think of is, what is there to be learned from this? Because I think it'd just be a fun exercise to do and would help me, I think, whenever I need to empathize with somebody else who may be going through something similar. Because I think I found myself in a couple situations where I remember vividly saying like, yo, there's no logical reason for this life thing. Sure, you can say, oh, live for your family, live for blah, blah, because it brings you purpose and joy. But like, really, what is purpose? Like, what's the point? Why do we hype up purpose so much? Is it actually worth it? Is there something there? I don't know. Those types of thoughts. So being in that sort of headspace, and if I ever have to engage with somebody who's also going through something similar, what can I offer? What can I learn from this and take away that I can offer in that conversation in the future? I think, I don't know, I'm gonna figure that out. But as of right now, initial thoughts, I think the main thing to hold on to is the idea or the conviction that this will pass, right? Without an answer. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that's what I'm thinking about. Like, I don't really expect me to have some sort of eureka moment of like, oh, it all makes sense. Or like, oh, I suddenly understand and appreciate my purpose. Or like, there's zero expectations of that. And I think that's what keeps me going. Knowing full well that I will not arrive at some pretty packaged answer of, oh, everything, you know what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of stories out there and a lot of narratives that I'm sure are true, although I am questioning if that's intrinsically their thoughts and values, or if it's just something that they feel like they need to come up with to put a nice little ribbon on things and so on, blah, blah, whatever. I don't know. For me, that always brings me comfort, I think, knowing that there will never be a pretty answer unless you really want to force one and bullshit your way through. And that's fine if you want to, but I don't want to. And for some reason, that brings me comfort. And I think that keeps me going. Like, there's never a question of, oh, should I just stop? Blah, blah. Because I know that eventually I'll get through it. And whether it be through unhealthy meat, that's the other thing though. I'm just going to stop there. I don't know. Because the rest of my thoughts are kind of jumbled. And we'll figure that out throughout the series. If you are listening to this, I hope you are doing well. If you need a mental health check-in, maybe do that too. If you need to engage with a stranger, hit me up. If you're not a stranger, hit me up more. And yeah, let's figure this shit out one step at a time. And I hope you are doing relatively well and are staying healthy. And bye.